So you'll probably notice that they've never really slowed down. They're constantly on the move as if driven by a motor. They frequently get lots of accidents, so they're frequently in the emergency room. And they shift from one activity to the other without, from back and forth without much time in between. They get bored very quickly, and that seems to be the mantra of kids with ADHD: I'm bored. There's a triad of symptoms: inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. So inattention, they struggle to pay attention. They really have a hard time focusing on anything that requires sustained attention. So they don't like reading. They can't watch movies because they get bored so quickly. As far as hyperactivity, it's just they can't sit still. They're constantly moving, almost like a worm in hot ashes. They'll jump on the furniture, they fall off the furniture. When you compare them to unaffected kids, there's a dramatic difference. The hallmark of impulsivity is you don't think about things before acting. And so there's think about the old classic cartoon Dennis the Menace. Before I think about something, I've already done it. You don't think about the consequences, you just do it. And then afterward you say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, but it's too late. The biggest cause is heritability. If the parents have ADHD, there's a much greater chance of having ADHD as a child. Twin studies are about 80% of, if one twin has it, the other one does as well. Without a doubt, the most effective treatments for ADHD are stimulant medications. And there's basically two stimulants out there, either methylphenidate or amphetamines. Now there are non-stimulant medicines, but they don't work quite as well. So methylphenidate has been around since, since the 60s. So it's not new at all. A lot of people have been on it. It was known as Ritalin. Ritalin was an immediate release form of methylphenidate. So other drugs like amphetamines are Adderall, sort of well known, and Adderall XR is the extended release form. Vyvanse is a prodrug that's been around for a number of years that works very well. There's a part of the brain called the prefrontal and premotor cortexes, which is mostly what affects ADHD. They are underactivated. And if you do a PET scan, positive emission tomography, that looks at metabolism of glucose, you'll see that certain parts of the brain in people with ADHD don't light up. In other words, there's no activity going on compared to someone who doesn't have it. And so the stimulant medicines, when you give it to them, it turns on that part of the brain. Now, it's interesting that the prefrontal cortex, which is very much impaired in ADHD, doesn't fully mature until the age of 25. So as they get older, the symptoms frequently get less. It's really hard to parent these kids because they have a lot of energy. They have to constantly be corrected. So they're at higher risk for abuse and coercive punishment because they're so high energy and they're constantly doing these things. It's not like they want to do it, they just can't seem to help it. There's something called parent management training where you help the parents with how to discipline these kids. You set, the tenets are, you have to set firm, consistent limits. If you say you're going to do something, you have to follow through. If you give in one time, you're going to have to follow through 20 times in order for the kids to believe you really mean business. So if you say you're going to take away their video game for a week and you don't follow through, you're really creating a problem for yourself, making the situation worse. And it's hard because these kids have boundless energy and the parents are coming home after a long day at work, and the last thing they want to do is have to expend all their energy in disciplining their kids. It also puts pressure on the marital dyad. The parents will argue frequently about parenting these kids, and there's a high rate of divorce among parents of kids with ADHD.